Hey YouTube, John here, back with another review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Florian FX10 Mini. Now the FX10 Mini measures a tiny 31 millimeters diagonally from motor to motor, making this the current world's smallest quadcopter. Just for comparison, I've grabbed my Cheerson CX20, the former holder of this title, and you can see it just dwarfs the FX10. I mean, this thing is just tiny. And really, even holding it like this next to the CX20 does it no justice. You really have to see this thing in person to appreciate how small it really is. Now, when you get the FX10, it's going to come complete with the quadcopter, a transmitter, USB charger, and a spare set of props. Now, the transmitter is actually what drew me to this quadcopter. Yeah, it's cool that this is the world's smallest quad, but it's even cooler that it stores in the transmitter. And really, the only thing that they could have done better is have the quadcopter charge off the transmitter. You know, that would just make it the ultimate travel quadcopter. But all in all, great design. You know, it feels really good in the hands. It's not too small like your typical nano quadcopters, so I'm really happy with that. On the right hand side here, you have your trim button. Right trim, left trim, forward and back. The left trim button here is actually not functional, so you don't have any throttle or yaw trim, but I haven't really found any need to have it anyways. Now the left stick pushes in to cycle you through the rates as well as into headless mode. So what you'll do is you start off in the low rates, and then pushing the stick once will move you into high rates. And there's only one yaw rate between the two, and it's not super fast, but you know, I'd call it adequate for indoor flying. You definitely won't be getting any tight funnels out of this thing. Once you're in high rates, you'll push the stick one more time, and that will put you into headless mode. And you'll know you're in headless mode because the quadcopter's lights will flash constantly. And the headless mode, when you activate it, it's going to use whatever direction the quadcopter is facing when you bound it as its initial heading. So that will always be forward. So you're going to want to remember that if you do intend to fly in headless mode. And I found the headless mode to be actually fairly accurate. But the strange thing is the yaw rate is super slow. So you won't be doing any fancy like full yaw, headless flying. So that was kind of disappointing. The right stick here pushes in to put you in a flip mode. So you'll push the stick once, and then input which direction you want to flip. The quadcopter will flip in that direction, and then come out of flip mode. The flips are really fast and smooth, but you got to remember it gives a ton of throttle before it does a flip. So you got to make sure you give yourself plenty of headroom before doing a flip. Otherwise, you're going to smash into the ceiling. The last thing we'll discuss with the transmitter is accelerometer calibration. So what you'll do is you'll take the quadcopter, you'll turn it on. You'll bind the transmitter, and then you'll take the left stick and go down left, and the right stick and go up left. You see the lights flash on the quadcopter? That's the indication that your accelerometers have been recalibrated. Moving on to the quadcopter, I have to say that I was pleasantly surprised with the build quality. You know, they definitely didn't skimp on the fit and finish of this thing. And considering it costs less than 20 bucks, that's actually pretty impressive. You have a nice on-off switch here on the right side of the body, and then on the back you have your charging port. Nice bright LEDs here on the arms. You got blue in the front, red in the back, so that makes orientation a breeze. It's got a built-in 80 milliamp hour battery that gives you just short of 4.5 minute flights with a relatively short low voltage warning. You only get about 15 seconds to land this thing somewhere before it lands itself. But you know, the size of it, you're probably not going to be flying it outside, so that's really not a big deal. And then finally, the stock charger takes about 30 minutes to charge, so nice quick charging times. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot to cover on this model, so let's take it for a flight here in the kitchen. Alright, we're here in the kitchen with the FX10 Mini. We'll start it off in low rates. And one thing I have noticed is that this thing gets really touchy on a fresh battery. The throttle is just crazy touchy, and it wants to just fly into the ceiling. But you know, you can see low rates are nice and smooth. Kind of do some circuits around here in the kitchen. We'll move it up into high rates. And it picks up some speed. It's definitely not as fast as the CX20, but it is ultra stable. I was very surprised at how stable it was. And that's full yaw. Whoa, looks like the accelerometer is getting a little confused here. Sometimes the accelerometers will get confused too, and it'll just fly, like I'm full forward stick right now, and it's just flying forward. It's just hovering. But if I land it, We'll leave it there for a second. We'll take off, and it's back to normal. So I don't know if that's just mine or if they all do that, but definitely some weird accelerometer issues there. Alright, now we'll move it into headless mode. And the headless mode does work pretty good. But like I said, look at the yaw. The yaw is just insanely slow in headless mode. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't believe in headless mode for beginners just because it teaches bad habits. You know, it's kind of cool to do the crazy full yaw thing, but, you know, you can't even do that with it. So, I don't know. Headless mode's kind of, it works, but it's kind of useless. Go back into high rates here. We'll do some flips. Do a side flip, and you can see flips are awesome, but it does give it a lot of elevation, so make sure you get plenty of headroom before you do one. Like there, almost at the ceiling. But definitely it flips very well, and it recovers fast. Just, that's pretty cool. So yeah, I think that about covers everything. I hope this video helped someone. If it did, please give it a thumbs up. Definitely leave a comment down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I try to post new videos every Wednesday. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Nice and easy. Wow.